All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and model my thinking of how I can show you some more ways to solve fractions of collections. So this is Mr. Fleming bought a dozen eggs at the store. When he got home, he found that 1/3 of the eggs were cracked. Oh no, how many eggs were cracked? So I'm going to follow the same steps that I did when I solved number stories with fractions before, but this time it's going to just look slightly different in my drawing. So first thing I need to do is find out what's my job. What's the question? So let's do that. Again, it's normally the last thing. So here it says, how many eggs were cracked? That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's what I'm going to put down here in my answer. Is how many eggs were cracked. I don't know my answer yet, so I need to go to the next part. I need to be able to show my work. What's my evidence? So let's look at the important parts in the question. So there's Mr. Fleming. He bought a dozen eggs. Well, what does a dozen eggs look like? What's a dozen mean? Oh yeah, a dozen means 12. Okay, if you didn't know that, now make sure that you learn that into your memory so that you can know that in the future, because that's something that you'll probably see in future number stories. Now, what else is important? It says he found that 1/3 of the eggs were cracked. I don't know what 1/3 of 12 is. So I'm definitely need to show my work here. So one thing you could do is you could draw your 12 eggs. Okay, just like I was showing you in the math message, that's something I would do. You could also use your fraction strips or your number lines, your circles, but I think it might just be easier just to draw the picture this way when you have collection, since each item is individual. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, and it says 1/3 of the eggs are cracked. So I'm going to use a different color. And how would I show that 1/3? It doesn't mean that 3 of them are cracked. I could try it. 1, 2, 3. Now, could I make groups of 3? Would that make sense? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Or do I have thirds? No, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups now. Okay, I think the better way to do this would be to look like this. Okay, you have my 12 eggs again in the carton, and I have end up with 4 of them. If I only had 3, I had too many groups, but if I put 4 in each group, okay, I end up with 3 groups. 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups. And then 4 of the eggs in this group, right, are cracked. So how many eggs are cracked? The answer is not going to be 1/3, right, or 1. I already knew 1/3 of them are cracked. How many are in that 1/3 group? 1, 2, 3, 4. So my answer is going to be 4 eggs, right? Always write that unit. So I found my job. I found my answer. I showed my work here. And then now it says explain in words. Okay, so again, this is where I could say that I drew 12 eggs. I made 3 groups. There were 4 eggs in each group. So that meant that since 1 of the 3 groups was cracked, that meant 4 of the eggs were cracked. Okay, that's one way that you could explain your thinking here. And of course, I would write that down here and write all the things I just said here. But to save time, I'm going to let you spend time doing that. Let's go ahead and try this one together. I'll get you started and then I'll let you continue working. It says, equally share a collection of 6 markers among 3 people. How many markers does each person get? What fraction of the markers in the collection does each person get? Okay, so, this means I have 2 questions here that I'm going to have to solve. First one is just how many markers do they get? This one says what fraction of the markers. So this is going to be a fraction here. This is going to be the amount of markers. So I'm going to even just put that here to help me remember at the end. This should be the amount of markers. This should be the fraction. Okay, so here it says I need to write my answer. I don't know that yet. So like I've been doing, I need to show my work first. So here I'm going to switch my color. This says I need to equally share 6 markers with 3 people. So I'm going to make my 3 people. Instead of actually drawing people this time, I'm going to make 3 people as boxes. Okay, this should be familiar to when we did division number stories. There are basically the same thing. Okay, it's even the division sign. So I have 3 people now. Check. Now I need to have 6 markers. Does each person get 6? No, it says I'm sharing a collection of 6. That means 6 is my total. So I need to see how many would each person get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, look, I've gone to 6. So how many markers does each person get? Well, here's person 1, 2, 3. Each person gets 2 markers. Now, what fraction would that be? Well, how many total markers do I have? I have 6. So I could say this in 2 ways. I could say I have 2 out of the 6 markers, or you can say that since I end up with 3 groups, you could say that each group is 1/3 of the markers. Okay, I like doing 2, 6 just because it matches the number story a little bit better, but 1/3 is also an answer you can write. Okay, and you don't need to write it down here since I wrote it up here. All right, now I'm going to have you practice this on your own. So again, always in your book on page 249, you can work it out here, but then show me your thinking here. So here is a similar problem, okay, where it asks you to figure out how many pennies there are instead of markers, and then what the fraction would look like of your answer. Same thing here. Let's look at these pennies with this amount of people. What would the fraction look like? Okay, this is similar to my model when we have eggs and some of them are cracked. Okay, and what fraction did not crack? And then here is some with pencils. This one's a little trickier. I want to see if you can do this one. And then here are some crackers being shared. And this time I want you to make sure that you're showing your thinking, okay, for these 2. The others, you do not have to, right? And then I want you to tell me, what did you like about the lesson? What was easy? What's still kind of tricky? And what's something maybe that you didn't like? Okay. You can play Beat the Computer with multiplication to help make sure we're learning other things and besides just fractions. But if you want some more practice with fractions, collections, here are some things on IXL with operations of fractions that you can complete. Here's another can do. This is pretty tricky, so you could try this one. And then here's an extension as well. All right. I hope you have a great day. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, guys.